So are we all headed to a world where we have 360-degree digital profiles that file us away according to sentiments on official policies? Now, the government's move is coming in the middle of a fierce global debate about data privacy. It's a debate that's been sparked off by, of course, by Cambridge Analytica, that scandal where personal information was used to influence political campaigns without the consent of users. So is this any different? Old wine in a new bottle, or is that being too alarmist? Remember, this is a time when online data privacy has become a burning issue globally. So does this move infringe, or will it infringe upon a person's right to privacy? What does the government plan to do with this data that will be gathered? We have in studio Prashant Roy. He's a tech and policy professional. Pavan Dugal, you just saw him in that story by Sukirti. He is the president of cyberlaws.net, an advocate in the Supreme Court too. And from the Congress, we have Adil Singh Boparai, and we have Vaibhav Agarwal, who's joining us from Mumbai from the BJP. Pavan, firstly, is this surveillance?
You can't have a better, more high-quality surveillance than this. When you're wanting to scan each and every kind of fabric of the message that's being sent across social media, though the objectives might be noble, that you want to basically understand what are the moods on the ground, but the fact also remains that what are the checks and balances in place to ensure that this kind of activity does not get potentially misused for a variety of other purposes. And what better way of having a big brother snooping at all your social media accounts, giving a fear in the hearts of all the publishers that, look, the big brother is watching you, we will be scanning you, we will also be countering you with counter narratives and stuff like that. So I think that's not what the makers of the Constitution had in mind when they enacted the Constitution. That's not what the Information Technology Act has in mind.
Can I just play devil's advocate? You know, according to some reports, and I have to say that because nobody from the government is actually speaking up. They've been very silent on this. But they say that only publicly available data on these social networks is what's going to be the word they've used, crawled, right? I mean, isn't that's information you're putting out? Once you put it out there, then can you really cry foul if someone's using it or seeing what you're saying?
Correct. But the fact remains is that when you're on social media, you're not going to be completely bereft of any privacy. You still have an expectation of personal privacy,
correct,
of data privacy. And independent of this, let's look at it.
And you choose who to share this information with.
You choose who the participants are, who the recipients are, and more significantly, you want to actually give expression to your own thought processes. But the fact remains, every information in the social media, though it's publicly available and it's public information, for example, WhatsApp, whatever you publish on WhatsApp, audio, video, image, text, is public information. But that still does not mean that everybody or anybody or any state or non-state actor has the right to pick that up, to target and specifically identify what's the temperature on the ground. I think it's going far beyond, because it's not within the parameters of Section 69 of the Information Technology Act 2000, because it does not even have some basic checks and balances. We don't even know for what particular purpose is this going to be done. Is it in the interest of sovereignty, security, integrity of India, or for public order, decency, morality? All those things are completely missing. And mind you, even the Information Technology Act 2000 and the rules and regulations made thereunder did not have the slightest of clues that this kind of an exercise, which could be a complete fishing net being put, could be coming up in the coming times.
Prashant, where do you stand on this?
Well, clearly it's worrying. I think even if the idea was simply to gauge sentiment on the ground.
One word is, it could be a noble idea. Is it a noble idea?
No, because it goes beyond sentiment. I think the RFP is very clear of the intent of also influencing public opinion. I think the timing is interesting because we are in the run-up to 2019. And whatever stretch of the imagination one would like to be able to attribute benevolence for this idea, I think the fact that we are looking at trying to influence public opinion, etc., is worrying. Even if you exclude things like the mail, I think they've gone overboard with that. It's not very easy to scan email.
No, so does this include mail or not? Because I'm certainly...
the RFP says email. It does say that you should be able to listen to and monitor email.
But isn't that illegal? Because I think to access email wouldn't, under current laws, you would have to probably get permission from the Home Ministry.
You wouldn't really be able to access email. Yes, you would need absolute, explicit, wiretapping related orders. Not even a Section 92 CRPC request can get you access to intercept email. So I think that you can safely keep aside.
Are you saying they're clarifying that because it's impossible to do, or because they're saying we're going to steer clear of emails because that's just
I suspect it's
personal.
a mix of both, because one of the things you have to keep in mind is they've extended the RFP deadline, and that would be because they haven't had enough bids. And one of the reasons would be concerns about what is feasible, because you've got to come back with a bid which says that yes, we can do all of this, and if there are components of this which are not easy to do or put you on in a gray area of the law, then people might not bid. So this could be one reason. But having said that, if you keep aside email, for the others, the influencing public opinion, the possibility of misuse, if not by the state but by non-state actors or individuals, these elements are worrying in any such mass gathering and correlation of data. And I think, like Pawan said, the fact is, even if it's public data, or I post it in a WhatsApp group with the expectation that 10 members of the group or 11 members of the group are seeing it, if somebody is able to aggregate this, correlate these different things, identify me uniquely, and that brings up the question of what is the unique identifier they will use, is it Aadhaar or something else, then that is significantly worrying.
Okay. Adil, we talked about timing also. Both have mentioned timing, the fact that the elections are coming up. So respond to the fact that, is this noble in any way? And also when you talk about timing, this comes at a time when globally other countries are actually trying to protect and strengthen privacy laws.
Sarah, the Modi administration wants to create an Orwellian state. And the objective behind this is to create a database, and then they'll use that database to hound and victimize people. Today in this country, post 2014, any person who holds a contrary point of view is labelled and branded as an anti-national. We've seen with journalists. We've seen with journalists from your channel. Any person today, so therefore any person who holds a post, who posts something which is contrary to the government or which critiques the government, the BJP will create a database, will create voter profiles and then hound them. This is something which seriously is an assault on our democracy. After the privacy judgment of the Supreme Court, the constitutional bench, it is very clear this is something which intrudes into Article 21. This violates our rights. Any attempt to do so by the government is unconstitutional. And I like to go further. What the RFP says is that they can scan emails. This is something which is very dangerous, which means there is no privacy. So tomorrow, if two private individuals are communicating with each other, which may be purely for personal or business purposes, the government as a big brother would like to snoop on them. So the idea behind the Modi administration is to create a police state, hound people, victimize people, and then literally usher in dictatorship in this country. It is very worrying. I think this issue, this story deserves a lot of attention in this country today.
Of course, the question, will it also lead to legal challenges? But I do have Vaibhav, who is now here with us. He's with the BJP. So let's ask Vaibhav. Vaibhav, the fact is that we don't have a law that ensures data protection, right? Or that can define the process of obtaining consent from individuals before you use their data. So obviously this is raising eyebrows.
So good evening, Sarah. Good evening to the panelists. Sorry I got late. There are so many India Bulls in Bombay that I couldn't locate the tower properly. So, okay. So we are back on the social media debate, Sarah. And I'm glad that you're doing this again as a follow-up. Now, looks like we keep coming up with something or the other where there's a lot of fodder and food of thought for the general public, and especially for the Congress. Adil, nothing personal, but especially for the Congress.
Well, you have no one to blame but yourself for that. Then you're giving them opportunities. You're creating opportunities for them. But answer the question, Vaibhav, is this not an area of concern when the government is saying they're going to be monitoring things even as your emails? For what? What is the government's job? Why do they need to do this?
No. I think we're getting it wrong. The
Correct.
idea is
Please
that this project that we're trying to, what we're trying to do is this project we're trying to create for the delivery of the last mile customer service. Now, if that delivery of the last mile customer service needs to know what's in the public domain. So for example, if we have a Facebook group or a Facebook community that we are already talking to each other about and we're passing comments on something like that. So this information basically is information available in the public domain. We have no plans to snoop on anyone. There is not even an iota of doubt and a thought there. We are matured people. Rajavardhan is leading the INB ministry, and we are all matured people. Here we are trying to make sense for customer delivery.
So you say customer delivery, customer service. What is the customer asking for? What are they willing to pay for? Because at this point of time,
correct.
We don't. I'm asking you. What is the customer? There's a service you're saying you're delivering. So what is the customer demanding? that you are delivering this service?
That is exactly what we want to know, by capturing the information that is available in the public domain. And this, don't get me wrong, but I think this is too soon for us to speculate on the matter as to what the government is really wanting to do. I've read the article. I've not read the 66-page proposal that has been floated by the ministry, but I've read the article on ndtv.com. And going by that, I think it's totally open to speculation, which I would request you not to speculate. Give it some time, it will have its own shape. We are only inviting comments right now, and we are only inviting a kind of a
You're inviting
RFP.
bids, tenders.
It is an RFP. Yeah, okay. We are inviting a tender.
Very
we've
different from
drafted
comments.
certain parameters. Yeah, I mean, a tender has commercial angles to it, but I don't think that there is a commercial angle built into this, because this is something very new that is happening.